With a sobering distinction, one of the few major American cities where violent crime is rising, especially when it comes to carjacking, a crime that's more than doubled this year in the district.
Yeah, the News 4i team wanted to know what is behind the trend and why, more often than not, young people are driving it. Investigative reporter Ted Oberg shares what he found.
As an Air Force veteran and now occasional Uber driver, Princess Monyea has seen some tough things.
He opened my door and stood right here with his gun.
But she says she didn't see it coming when a ride she gave 5 teens last month from D.C. to Prince George's County turned into an attempted carjacking.
I didn't even see the gun at first. I just heard him say, "Give me your keys, Ma." And I turned around and was like, "Are you kidding me? You're not really doing it."
In that moment, Princess nearly became one of a record number of carjacking victims in our area this year. The latest data show that while carjackings are on pace to fall by 10% in Fairfax County, they're up nearly 20% in Prince George's County and 41% in Montgomery County. But that's nothing compared to D.C., where carjacking has more than doubled, rising to 936 carjackings as of this week.
It's getting ridiculous. I mean, I'm scared of children.
D.C.'s surge comes at a time the News 4i team found carjacking is falling in other major American cities like New York, Chicago, Philly, and Baltimore. So the I-team wanted to know what's driving this trend and why is it still going up in D.C. when carjackings are decreasing in so many other cities? While critics of U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves this year pointed to a large number of cases his office didn't pursue, he says that's since improved, and Graves blames D.C. law, which years ago loosened penalties for violent offenders under 25 years old.
I have been sounding the alarm that the criminal justice system that D.C. has built does not meet the moment that we are in. The mayor has correctly flagged that the law has swung too far over the last 7 years. Armed carjacking is a great example of her and my point.
University of Texas at Dallas criminologist Bruce Jacobs has studied carjacking for years and says it is by and large a crime committed by young people.
Roughly 75% of all these crimes are committed by people in their teens or 20s.
Jacobs says there is something to a perceived lack of consequence.
It emboldens offenders to commit these crimes because, first of all, the perceived certainty of detection is low, but even if you do get caught, the perceived severity of sanctions are also low.
He's got a name for that phenomenon.
Vicarious punishment avoidance effects, which means, oh, my friends just did this, they didn't get caught, or if they did get caught, not much happened to them.
A quick glance at DC's carjacking data suggests some of that could be at play. Of the more than 900 carjackings this year in the district, there have only been 169 arrests, though we don't know how many carjackings they account for. 63% of those arrested are juveniles.
I mean, these parents need to get their children.
DC's Office of the Attorney General, which handles crimes involving kids, reports prosecuting 57% of the carjacking cases it received through October, saying there wasn't enough evidence to pursue the rest.
They're not doing enough to catch them.
Princess, who's been driving Uber on the side to help raise money for her terminally ill daughter, tells us she managed to keep her car by doing what experts say you shouldn't, fighting back.
Because the car came and it blew the horn. He turned around and looked. That was his mistake. And when he did that, I shoved him as hard as I could, and then I pulled off.
At her family's urging, she's since installed cameras in her car and is now driving around with Kevlar plates.
In the event somebody else points another gun at me, I at least have a way to protect myself from a shot.
Steps she says are necessary to protect herself because she doesn't believe the police or prosecutors will. Ted Oberg for the News 4i team.
The I-team checked in D.C., where remember cases have more than doubled this year. D.C. police were only able to add one more investigator to the department's carjacking task force this year, bringing the total number on the task force to 14. Meanwhile, today, D.C. police announced 2 more carjacking arrests.